All right, let's jump right in. Today we're going to talk about something huge, one of the most profound shifts in human history. But it's happening so quietly, you might not even notice. It's a fundamental change that's going to reshape everything, our economies, our societies, and even our own lives. So let's get into it, starting with a really big question.
Yeah, what does happen? It sounds simple, but the answer is anything but. For the first time, and I mean the first time ever, we are on the verge of having more old people on this planet than young people. So what in the world does that actually mean for all of us? Okay, to really get a sense of the scale here, let's just throw a number out. 2.1 billion. By the year 2050, that's the projected number of people who will be over the age of 60. That's more than double the number from just a few years ago, and this isn't some distant sci-fi prediction. This is a wave that is already hitting the shore.
So when we talk about this, what's the official term? It's population aging. And really, it's a pretty straightforward idea. It just means the average age of everyone on Earth is steadily climbing. This is happening for two main reasons, two huge reasons. We are living a lot longer, and we're having fewer kids. Let's break down what that does to the very shape of our society.
Here's a great way to picture it. For all of human history, societies have looked like a pyramid, right? You have this big, broad base of young people supporting a smaller, narrow peak of older folks at the top. Well, that pyramid is flattening out. It's transforming into something more like a pillar, or even a rectangle, where you have almost the same number of people in every age group. This isn't just a small tweak. This is completely redrawing the blueprint of our social structure.
So how in the world did we get to this historic turning point? Well, it was no accident. It's actually the result of two of humanity's greatest success stories. So let's take a look at the two engines that are driving this massive change. The first engine is an absolute triumph. It's the fact that we're living longer, healthier lives than at any other point in history. Seriously, thanks to huge advances in medicine, in sanitation, in nutrition, what we call the longevity revolution is literally adding decades to human life. And this timeline, wow, this really puts it all in perspective. Just look at this. Back in 1950, the global life expectancy was just 46 years old. 46! Now, fast forward to 2020, and it soared to 73. That is a staggering jump in just one person's lifetime. And as you can see, that trend is just going to keep on climbing. Now, the second engine of change is just as powerful, but it's happening at the beginning of life, not the end. It's the global story of falling birth rates. You see, as societies develop, and especially as women gain more and more access to education and family planning, the trend everywhere is towards smaller families.
And this chart just lays out the numbers perfectly. In the 1950s, as you can see, the global average was 5 children per woman. 5! Today, that number has been chopped in half, down to 2.4, and is projected to get even closer to what's called the replacement rate. That's 2.1, the magic number you need to keep a population stable. Many parts of the world are already there.
So we've got these two massive engines of change. But, and this is key, they're not running at the same speed everywhere. Not even close. And this has created a fascinating and deeply divided demographic map of our world today.
Okay, get ready for this contrast, because it is absolutely mind-blowing. The median age. That's the point where half the population is older and half is younger, in a place like Monaco is over 55. 55! Now look over at Niger, it's under 15. Let that sink in for a second. The average person in Monaco is literally a grandparent's age compared to the average person in Niger. It's like they're living on two different planets.
And we see this same pattern across entire continents. Europe is the world's oldest continent, and it's aging fast. North America and Asia are right on its heels. But then you look at Africa. It stands alone. It's an incredibly young continent, and you know that single fact is going to have massive implications for the global economy in the decades to come.
So, this all brings us to the core of the issue. What happens next? What are the real-world consequences, the ripple effects of this older world? Because make no mistake, an older world is a different world.
So, to understand the economic shockwaves, we have to talk about one key idea, the dependency ratio. Now, it sounds kind of technical, but it's really simple. It just measures how many dependents, that's kids and retirees, are being supported by every single person who's in the workforce. And as a country gets older, that ratio goes up, and the pressure on workers gets pretty intense. See, this rising dependency ratio kicks off a very predictable chain reaction. First, as you see in step 1, you have fewer workers trying to support more and more retirees. This can lead to what's in step 2, slower economic growth overall.
And then, step 3, that puts an enormous strain on the social programs that were designed for that old population pyramid, things like pensions and public health care. But the impact goes way beyond just economics. I mean, this touches every single part of our social fabric. Our healthcare systems, which are mostly built to handle emergencies, will have to shift to managing long-term, chronic conditions for older people. We're going to see the rise of a massive silver economy with tons of new products and services for older consumers. And maybe the most profound shift of all, we're going to have to totally rethink our whole concept of a 3-stage life. Education, then work, then retirement.
So, where does this all leave us? It's easy to look at all this and see a looming crisis, but it's probably more accurate and more helpful to see it as a profound transformation, a manageable one. And hey, it's a testament to our own success as a species, right?
So let's lock in the 4 big takeaways here. Number 1, this great reversal, it's global, and it is completely unprecedented. Nothing like it has happened before. 2, it's driven by 2 amazing human triumphs, us living longer and having more choices. 3, the ripple effects are going to reshape everything, our economies, our societies, our personal lives. And number 4, and this is the most important one, while it's a massive challenge, it's also a huge opportunity to build a world that works better for people of all ages.
And I want to leave you with this final thought. For pretty much all of human history, the story has been about growth, more people, more expansion. But for our future, the story is going to be about how we adapt to aging. How we navigate that will define everything. Thanks for watching.